Okay. Sort your tail out.
Sort out your filthy business. Look at my tail now that I'm up.
Look at that. It's full bum shot right there. Yeah, the tail is too much. I cannot handle it.
I would get
It's
up.
so stiff.
It is quite stiff. Well, around you. No, it is quite stiff. It's got a wire.
Oh,
so you can
bend.
like pose
she
it.
can move. Yeah, she's got some flexibility. Do you want to address the wolf in the room?
Well, I really wanted to make an outfit because Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year.
Yeah.
It's also my wedding anniversary.
I was going to say, it's got many layers to your love for it. Yeah.
And you're dressed as...
Oh, listen,
Carmen Sandiego
I didn't get the memo about the costume thing. Doc was the one that was like, I'm dressing up. And I didn't think that he was going to do this.
I said, I'm dressing up whether you like it or not.
So I was just like, I'm just going to wear a normal outfit. And then I get here and now I feel ashamed that I'm not like to the level. So I'm wearing a cowboy hat. It's kind of predictable.
We're,
White girl Halloween.
Which
shove on a hat. I guess let's go into it. So the theme for today, if you couldn't already tell... We thought it'd be really fun to do a Halloween special.
Very special, yeah.
Yeah.
We are keeping the Halloween vibes going.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to be talking about, each of us has just brought a movie to the other person that's just like something we like to watch at Halloween, I guess. So that's the theme.
Sorry, full dog moment, just like...
Your ears were like, ooh.
Yeah, so Halloween movies. And obviously you already know what movies... They're in the title.
Yeah.
But you brought an aliens movie. Kind of. And I brought a ghost movie.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So that's our monsters for this year.
It is.
Ghosts and aliens.
Yeah, very
spooky.
Like it. Yeah. Do you want to introduce your film first?
Okay, cool. My movie that I brought is House.
Woohoo!
Really good movie. 1977.
Yeah, great year.
I think this year, we'll talk about it later. This episode is a time when we've chosen movies that are the closest in release date.
Yeah.
Because mine was 77 and yours was 78.
Yeah, very close.
Very close. It's the 70s, guys.
And apparently Suspiria was also released the same year as House, which is crazy.
Crazy.
So what a year for horror.
What a year for horror,
Crazy year for horror.
What did we say? 7 minutes?
7 minutes. Let's go 7 minutes.
7 minutes in heaven. Oh.
God. I remember when my sister did 7 minutes in heaven when she was like 11. And I actually wanted to kill the boy that she did that with.
Oh my goodness.
She was like 9 years old.
Oh my god. We can't put this in.
We can't put 7 minutes in heaven. I think they just like kissed on the lips.
Yeah.
For like a second.
I mean, it's fine. It's kids, whatever, they're growing up. But damn.
I know. I was fuming about it.
Anyway.
7 minutes on the clock.
Cool.
Go.
So, House, 1977. It's a Japanese movie. And it's very Japanese. And I mean that in a good way. It's about these, I think there are 6 or 7 young girls who are at school. They have a school teacher friend. And then they're going to go to the countryside, to a house there. Whomst one of the girls' aunt lives there. Yeah. And she's like, come with me to this beautiful big house, which you were in that situation not that long ago.
Yeah.
This could have been you. So they go up to this house, right? And the aunt turns out is like some sort of witch. And then I threw up. She's a witch.
And that's all she wrote.
Sorry about that. And I'm also sorry for you editing this. This for you. I'm sorry.
I just saw my life flash before my eyes. I thought you were going to upchuck on me. Oh my god.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah. So once they get to the aunt who lives... Sorry,
carry on.
Let me start over.
I don't know if that juice is going to be helpful.
Dude, I'm starting to wake up. This is necessary. So they go up to the house and they meet the girl's aunt.
Yeah.
And she's like so mysterious and she's in a wheelchair. She says that she loves having young women around. Same.
She's got a bob.
She's got a bob, severe bob. And she's got a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girls start getting haunted one by one. And then at the end, there's this one girl left. And then she also gets haunted. And then at the very end, the teacher comes to visit, the teacher who they were friends with, and she also gets haunted. This house just like absolutely, like engulfs everyone who goes there. And that's the story. If we were to talk about story, we can leave it at that, right?
Yeah.
But I find it very interesting that the movie does have a very clear message. Before I get into that, though, the movie, from what I could do when I was doing my research, the director worked very closely with his daughter when making the movie, whomst was 10 years old.
Wow, interesting.
And if you watch the movie, I think you can tell. The movie has like kid logic to it.
Yeah, it does.
It's very surreal. It's very trippy. And it's not like the things that happen. Although they look visually literal, they're not always 100%. It's like visual metaphor and like images that allude to what happened. And it's just surreal and a lot of special effects and kid logic, Now, as I was watching the movie, I've seen this movie like 3 times. I think it's like an internet darling.
Yeah,
I think
it's
people
very widely
online,
beloved. It's like a cult classic.
Yeah,
now.
People spam it every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a few times, but this time I feel like it's the first time that I was actually able to like see the meaning behind it, to understand everything. I think the movie is about... so during the first part of the movie when they're talking to the teacher, there's so much talk about marriage.
Yeah.
The little girls are like... The teacher is getting married, so the little girls go to her and are, like... It's like, you're gonna marry for love, how nice. And she's like, of course, obviously. And everyone is so excited about it. And they think about when they're gonna get married, and they talk about it a lot, and it's like it's a huge thing which is on their minds.
Yeah.
That said, I think the girls are supposed to represent one girl, because each one has a specific name that's not really a name.
Yeah.
They're called like Sweet, Melody, Fantasy, Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Imagine being like your friends calling you gorgeous. Imagine being so like universally pretty that everyone just goes around calling you gorgeous.
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
so odd. Yeah.
There's one of them that really likes eating. What was her name? I think one of them was called Mac. Maybe it was.
Yeah, Mac. I think it's Mac. Yeah.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Got him.
I know. It is kind of brutal.
There's a girl called Kung Fu.
Yeah.
That's all she's called.
She's good at fighting.
And she's really good too.
She's really good.
The movie's kind of anime in that way. They all, and also their names relate to how they are absorbed by the house.
Yeah.
For example, in a really cool scene, Melody gets eaten by a piano. Makes sense.
It's a great scene.
Fantasy is tricked by a ghost. A fantasy. Mac, who's eating...
Yeah, and she gets her head taken off by the watermelon, and she becomes, like, decapitated. Yeah, it's really
She becomes just a floating head.
Yeah.
And Kung Fu gets bested in combat.
Yeah,
so they're all like,
like fighting.
Their names are... they're relevant to their stories.
Yeah.
And
gorgeous. She's looking in the mirror.
She's looking in the mirror when it happens.
That one's really brutal.
It is brutal. She burns.
Yeah.
So I think they all represent parts of womanhood. Kind of. More so in the sense that I think the movie is... At first, as we were talking about marriage a lot, right? So I was thinking like, these are all young girls, and the movie is about marriage. It's about women's roles in marriage, how important it's supposed to be for a woman to find a man, and get married to them, and that's how they're supposed to receive self-actualization.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's a movie from the 70s. I see it, But then I was looking at it some more, and I'm like, that's not quite right. I think there's a bit more to it. I think the movie is about the death of girlhood for womanhood. Because there's all these girls who are all quite simplistic in their characterization. Kung Fu likes martial arts.
Yeah.
Mac likes to eat.
Likes food.
They're very simple as characters. And they're different aspects of girlhood that a woman has to control or, sublimate in order to become a successful woman.
Yeah.
And what the house is doing is imposing womanhood on them and saying like, you are now a woman, you're now a grown-up. And then at the end, the teacher comes to them and is supposed to save them. So it's like the grown-up woman, but she also gets taken by the house, right? Which I'm thinking, our I might be reading too much into it, but from my reading of it, what it's trying to tell us is that the view, like the social view of woman, which we see as keeper of the house, as mother, consumes real women. Because she also gets taken by the house. She gets burned alive. Do you remember?
Yeah.
A ghost of Gorgeous welcomes her into the house, and then she does a little trick, and then she burns.
Yeah.
So I think the movie is actually talking about the kind of like oppressive monstrosity of womanhood, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of cool, kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's a really great take, because obviously, well, because also at the beginning of the film, the main girl, Gorgeous, right? She's the main, yeah. And she finds out from her dad that her dad is getting remarried to this other woman.
True.
And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, because we need a mother around here. We need somebody to, like, take care of us again. And, like, she's not particularly happy about it. And that's when she goes on holiday with all these girls.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of, like, through going on this holiday, she kind of is, like, forced into understanding the importance of that role, but, like, into becoming that herself.
Yeah.
And by the end, it's kind of her welcoming in this like role, basically.
Yeah.
And accepting it. And
because they even thank you for reminding me of that. Yes, because that sets up at the beginning of the movie that motherhood is important.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what society tells girls. They're like, you're gonna grow up one day and you're gonna become a woman, and that's gonna be the best thing that you're ever gonna do.
Yeah. But the whole thing of, like, I love how it's so twisted, of, like, this one woman, her aunt, and she's like this jilted woman that was, like, supposed to get married, and then, like, her husband went away to fight in the war, and he never came back home, and then she, like, died basically waiting around for this husband to return that never came. Or, like, they were supposed to get married, and then he went to the war, and she was waiting around in her wedding dress for him to return, but he never did.
But he never did.
So she's, like, this woman that's, like, failed to meet that image because she never got the chance to be a mother and be a wife and like all these kinds of things.
And in a very Japanese way, her ghost is exactly that spirit of unfulfillment.
Yeah.
She died wanting it so bad that now it's that desire.
Well, yeah, now she's projecting that onto all the other girls. She's like, if I'm going to die before becoming a wife and a mother, then so are you all. And you're all going to be, like, punished for your kind of girlish sins, and you're going to live in a perpetual state of not
nothingness.
Reaching, not reaching that.
So, but yeah. That was my movie.
Yeah.
Very interesting movie. We can talk more about it later, because there's a lot of stuff that I think was very similar to the movie that you brought.
So the movie I picked today
tell us about it.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, directed by Philip Kaufman, and you said it was 1978?
Yes. If mine was 77, then yours was 78.
78, yeah.
Which is the second one, I believe.
Yes, it was.
The first one,
the original came out in the
58?
50s, yeah. Starring the wonderful Donald Sutherland, who is
one
of my favourite actors. I just love that man so much.
Is he in that movie you really like about people talking?
Ordinary People?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I first, like, fell in love with
That
him.
where you're like, that's my man.
That's the one. Yeah, that movie is, like,
it's
everything
really good.
to me.
If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, directed by Robert Redford, who also died recently.
That
I was really sad about that.
Yeah.
I feel like we've just had consecutive bad news in the movie world. It was Robert Redford's death, Nicole Kidman's divorce, which also really upset me.
Who did she get divorced from?
Keith Urban.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I know, because they were together for like nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
19 years, I think.
That sucks.
Which is, major bummer.
I mean, good for them if that's what they need, but like...
Yeah, still.
Anyway, this movie is not by Robert Ford.
This has nothing to do with that. But Donald Sutherland's in it, and he's fantastic. But yeah, the movie is basically like a take on the zombie apocalypse.
Zombie,
story.
That's how you would describe it?
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me more.
So the story starts out, it's all set in San Francisco, and you follow this this man and this woman, and they both work for like the Department of like Health in San Francisco. And basically there's this like strange kind of like epidemic taking over where people are behaving very, very cold and like not like themselves. So
completely emotionless.
So somebody that doesn't know this person, they think they're absolutely fine. But like people are waking up and their husbands and wives and like sisters and brothers are basically like completely opposite people to who they were the day before. And it's such a like, it's the kind of change that you couldn't like figure out what it is or what's caused it, but you just know that that person is not who they are.
You wouldn't be able to tell unless you really knew that person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so people
that
get
would be the tell.
like transformed in some way.
Yeah, people are just changing seemingly like overnight into a completely different person that's not who their loved ones are like familiar with. So there's like a woman that reports like, oh, I've woken up with this man and that man is not my husband. And they go in the house and they're like, well, he looks like your husband. Like, it all adds up.
And if he's not your husband,
if he's not your
then
husband,
who is he?
Then who the hell is he? And it's basically about this like man who works for the Department of Health in San Francisco slowly discovering that there's this like weird alien virus that has been injected into San Francisco through this plant that was like planted in the city and slowly spread, and its pores like slowly like attacks people. And basically this plant will infiltrate the bodies of people and it will make a direct copy of that person that's physically exactly the same. And then the alien will discard like the real person and the alien will control the copy / replica of this other person and basically just slowly control everyone in the city. But it becomes like this kind of paranoia thriller as they realize that they don't know who they can trust because most people have been taken over by this alien and they no longer know.
And it's just hard to tell.
They don't know what's safe, they don't know who's real, who isn't, and it's about them like figuring that out.
And you're absolutely right in calling it like a paranoia thriller because half the movie, it's about 2 hours. And half the movie, nothing other than at the beginning where there's a montage of how it all started, which I'll let you explain. But nothing specifically happens. We don't really see anything too crazy happening. It's more of people realizing that someone close to them is not themselves and trying to convince someone else. And a lot of the male specifically characters in the movie don't believe. They're like, what are you talking about? Who could this be? And that's an hour. That's half of the runtime. It really starts becoming more sci-fi really the more that it goes because for the longest part it is quite like a straightforward film about like what would happen if someone got replaced. How would you deal with it emotionally?
But it's so fantastic. I think it is one of my favorite horror movies of all time because I love like how subtle the suspense is, but it's just very patient in the way that it like unravels and like you don't really know what's happening, but it's just got this very distinct atmosphere of like unease and like dread, and it really just heightens that paranoia because you know that something isn't quite right, but you don't know exactly what it is or what's happened. You just know that people are moving and acting in quite a lifeless way, and the world suddenly feels very just like everything is just a bit off kilter.
That's your time.
Oh, there we go. So, yeah.
At the beginning, we do see like a psychedelic montage of how this alien creature, bacteria thing got to Earth. But the other thing I wanted to say, which is a question, I wanted to ask you, why, if we see the aliens at the beginning, why do you think it's a zombie movie?
Okay, yeah. So to me, it is like a political...
It is
zombie invasion movie because it's basically about a zombie takeover where the zombies are going into your body and like taking over you in a way that's just not noticeable, basically. And this particular film was made at like a very unique moment in time. People were terrified about like communism and like growing technological kind of advancements and all this kind of stuff, and people were really terrified that they were going to be replaced by machines. It was kind of at this like technology was just kind of like developing and it was all moving forward in quite a scary way, and this is something that you can really see in the film, and I just think it's so fascinating that it kind of flips the script on the traditional zombie movie where people are like, you know, like walking like this, and it's like, oh, what if the zombies are everywhere but you can't even see them and you can't even tell because they're like inside you and they're trying to behave like humans, you know? which I just think is so interesting. And it's just so scary to being alive now, because it's very much just like, I mean, it goes without saying, just the AI of it all, you know.
Yeah,
it's just
the
like,
AI of
okay,
it all.
yeah, like people are being taken over, but you can't even see it, and it's
You
just
can't
like
tell.
everything's being overrun by this like
every once in a while
alien
I'm
force.
watching a YouTube, right, and the narrator, I'm like, oh, it's so good, they're talking about whatever their subject is really well, but then certain inflections start to come up and I'm like, hold on a second, this isn't a person, this is an AI, and I feel so betrayed.
I know.
I'm like, no,
you do feel really betrayed. Yeah.
So in the spirit of the movie being very political, I think it actually takes a lot of like ideas from Scientology and from cults.
Yes. Yeah.
At the beginning of the
100%.
movie-ish, when Elizabeth, who's kind of our female lead, she is describing what her husband, who has been replaced, is what he's doing, because she follows him around and she just wants to know what's wrong with him. And she says he's meeting people, he's going to meetings, he's meeting strange people. So it's the idea of people going elsewhere, of putting their attention away from you, retreating into themselves, into other people who are strangers, and they share a secret. They look at each other and they pass a secret to each other, and they have an item that they hand to each other. And at first, obviously, she doesn't know anything about what it is. I wonder what the movie would feel like without the montage at the beginning, where we see that it's an alien, and we're with her thinking, like, what it is.
Yeah, it is very odd, because without that montage, you would just think, like, all these people are being brainwashed by something, and they're all, like, conspiring on some kind of, like, evil project, evil scheme.
And at one point, Leonard Nimoy's character, by the way, all-star cast, everyone's really good.
Stellar.
But Leonard Nimoy's character who has been replaced at that point of the movie, is saying, like, we just go from planet to planet, just surviving, because that's the point of life, to survive.
Yeah.
So that's a perspective of the alien.
Yeah, it's just trying to survive. But then you realize that this alien has actually got it's very aware, and it's, what's the word when you're like senior no.
Slut.
What's that word when, like, you're, like, aware of something, you know, when people
Cognizant.
Close. Fuck, I can't remember what that word is. Never mind. But the alien is, like, it's got a plan of its own. It's not like a passive creature. It's like it's a sentient being. That's the word I was going for. And it's clear that this alien has, like, nasty plans about basically taking over humanity.
Yeah, because it just sees it as an organic tool for survival.
Yeah.
Let's say. Now that I think about it, when I say it like this, I understand what you say when it's a zombie movie, because oftentimes zombie movies are like a virus. And even though this is an alien, technically, it kind of behaves like a virus.
Well, yeah, it is basically, because it's people are being infected with it, and, like, it's infecting people with stripping them of their originality and their humanity.
Yeah.
People have no agency or control or any sense of, like, emotion.
Yeah.
And that's it's basically infecting everybody with, like, conformity. Everyone has to be exactly the same.
Very little sense of self.
Control. Yeah, no sense of self, like, no feelings about anything. You're basically just a complete zombie robot walking through the world, just, like, following the routines, the rules, the order of the world, and if you break this in any way, then
the good of everyone
be exiled
at the highest expense.
Yeah, the expense of everyone's humanity and originality, basically.
Yeah. And but anyway, the other thing that reminds me about Scientology is that there's a line by one of his friends, because it's a group of survivors that we follow for a little bit of the movie, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And she actually makes it the whole way through. Shout out to that lady. She outlived us all.
Yeah.
But she is kind of theorizing about what this creature could be, and she specifically mentions a cosmology kind of similar to Scientology, in the sense that it's saying, like, it's what happened when humanity was started, in the sense that some creature came onto Earth and mixed in with the primates and reproduced with them, and that's how humanity was formed.
Yeah.
So that's like a very Scientology-esque looking way of looking at an origin story of life, of humanity.
Definitely.
So that other line, I was like, oh, maybe it is a little bit in the sense, like, the fear of having someone close to you be, like, raptured. by this conspiracy almost.
Yeah, it's definitely critiquing like a world where people don't think for themselves anymore. People can't think for themselves anymore, and that's obviously one of the biggest like effects of being in a cult, is that you're brainwashed into thinking like a mass group of people.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when these zombies take over, these aliens take over all the people, is that everyone thinks exactly the same, and there's no like unique thought or like way of doing things, you know, everything has to be uniform. So in that sense, it is very like, cult kind of similarities of like what happens if we are all brainwashed into believing the same thing and acting the same way, which is just very scary. I just think it's just like a really timely horror movie, because it came out in the 70s, but when I watched it probably like Halloween last year, and that was the first time I saw it, and I was just terrified by it.
It is very scary.
Because it's just really scary, especially following Donald Sutherland's character and his like desperate attempt to try and prove to everyone that this thing is happening, and absolutely no one believes him.
And at first he doesn't.
No.
And then when he does, it's like almost too late.
Yeah, and it is too late, because by the end, he gets infected. And
we've been kind of spoiling the movie already, but I want to get your thoughts on the ending. So one of the things about your movie that I really want to get your perspective on is what happens at the end. Because for the whole last third of the movie, the last act, let's say, he loses the girl that he's kind of interested in. Which, by the way, I just want to say, this movie... No, actually, I'll say that later.
Okay.
Hold that point.
Thought.
Hold that thought, viewer. But the... he loses the love interest, let's say. The female lead. It gets replaced, and then the original like shrivels up and dies. It's quite gnarly.
It's very gruesome. Especially like the practical effects are so impressive here. Like it really looks... I've never seen anything that looks like this movie. The way that they characterize this alien creature and the whole process of how it takes over your body is like
the fetus.
Very smart.
Let's say when a replica, when a duplicate is born, let's say the fetus is like an adult fetus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're like in this encased in this weird like gooey sack,
and that's how they are born.
Yeah.
Anyway,
gross.
She gets snatched, body snatched,
Rip.
wig snatched,
waist snatched.
Waist snatched. She shows up as a replica and she's just corseted and she's like, "What? Do it for the good of everyone."
What about it?
Anyway, she gets taken and he's left alone and to escape on his own.
Yeah.
And he does. We see him earlier on. One of the girls who survives is like, if you pretend, they won't notice. If you pretend to be emotionless, they won't know a thing. And then the female lead loses it because she sees a dog with a human head.
It's really it's gnarly though. It's
weird
really
creature
gross.
Who does not show up again later.
No,
he just shows up to psych her out and then dips out.
Ruin lives.
So anyway, she gets like absorbed, right? Whatever, replicated.
Yeah.
And he has to make his way out alone. And we see him accomplish it. He does make it out alone. And then the next thing that we see, which is the last scene of the movie, he's at work and he looks into where, because they used to kind of work together sometimes, him and his girl Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And he goes to see her and she's just a replica. Her and everyone else in the lab just completely, there's nothing there, vacant. Yeah. And he's just like, damn, my girl, she's gone. I lost her. And we see him do his thing, try to avoid capture. So obviously he's keeping very emotionless. And then at the end, the other survivor girl catches up to him, finds him, and goes up to him to tell him like, oh my god, we did it, we're okay for now. And then he just screams at her. Freaking gnarly.
It's so creepy.
It's an insane shot of this guy
so
just
good.
Screaming and pointing his finger.
His mouth open but eyes like expressionless. Yeah, and just was like...
And she's like, no!
Yeah.
So I want to know what you think. He just got replicated?
Yeah, I think he just got snatched. I think he didn't make it.
There's this thing that they say that it gets you in your sleep. And what actually gets her, Elizabeth, is that she gets replicated. And I'm guessing that when she fell asleep is when her body crumbled. So you're okay so long as you stay asleep.
Yeah, that's
so maybe he just fell asleep at one point.
Yeah, he did just fall asleep.
And he had already been copied by then, so when he fell asleep, he just shriveled.
Yeah, I think perhaps.
Rough.
Yeah, but it's just very... it's such a bleak ending.
Yeah, it leaves you like,
just
oh
very
no.
much like there's no hope for this world.
Yeah.
And he was the one person that was probably capable of doing something and saving people, and he's gone, and you're kind of like, damn, this girl's fucked. She's probably not going to make it out alive.
And you're like rooting for him the whole time, and then at the end, boom.
You just suddenly,
nothing. And that's how the movie ends, with no music in the credits.
Yeah. Yeah. No survivors.
Rough. Well, just one, and she's losing it.
And she's going and gone.
Shall we move on to the...
Let's talk about House, but we can just talk for as long as we need to.
Yeah, and we can talk about them together. I want to start by talking about how the movies are different in some ways that are interestingly exact opposites. I think that my film, they go to the countryside, right? So it's a lot of isolation. I guess in a way they're talking about how womanhood gets, like restrained in the house. So they go to this house and then they can't get any help from the outside. Yeah. And they're in the remote. There are these crazy shots of the teacher at the end, and she's got her scarf and she's walking through the forest like it's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
She's like, So it's like, wild. But it's very remote, very far away in the forest.
Yeah.
Your film happens in the city, and many things are about the horror of the city.
Yeah.
Of crowded places, of crowds in general.
But still isolated.
Yeah.
It's about the isolation of being surrounded in a crowd of people and not knowing who's real. But in House, it's about the isolation of being in this house and not knowing who's going to be kind of taken next. So similar things of like, there's like some weird like kind of, what's the word? Kind of fantastical force that's like slowly preying on people and taking victims.
And a lot of the like way that the alien gets stuff done, the zombie or whatever, is actually through bureaucracy in a way. Maybe I'm gonna wait. Okay. What I'm talking about is we see several times how when the replica completely takes over, they actually just chuck the original in the bin. And then a garbage bin truck, whatever, walks past, and all the evidence just gets discarded.
Destroyed.
And it's like the humanity is lost in the bureaucracy of a city.
Yeah, because all the zombies are like working together to cover it up, and it's kind of... Yeah, I mean, it's just so political. It's very much just like this like dictatorship that's now domineering over humanity itself, and it has the power to like wipe out humanity, and nobody can question or like argue against it or even find proof. And it's just I don't know.
It happens in broad daylight. These people, when they're meeting each other, they meet in public spaces. They meet on the subway, they meet on the street, on the plaza. We later see that they've even set up a whole production line of spreading the flowers that create zombies, alien zombie babies, the little pods, in like town hall or something like that. It's just like right there in plain sight. They are not hiding.
But it's just so, I mean, again, it's just so like, this is how politicians act today, they're doing all their evil schemes and disgusting things in broad daylight,
and
you
people
have like...
just go into it.
Yeah, and people buy into it. People believe this ideology if enough people have it. And like, if anything is just into like thrown into kind of like mass culture and like mainstream thinking, then slowly people are just indoctrinated and they don't question it, and they just go along with this like kind of, they just become a sheep,
Now, something
that's very
else...
terrifying.
Yeah, that is terrifying. And something else that is terrifying about the movie is kind of the loss of your loved ones.
Yeah.
I think the writers of Body Snatchers, of Invasion... Which one is the better one word? How should we... Invasion.
Yeah.
The writers of Invasion did really well in the chemistry of the people. When you see... Actually, I was going to tell you... the actor who plays Elizabeth, her name, Brooke Adams.
That's it, yeah.
What I wanted to tell you is that her and Michael Douglas? No, not Michael Douglas.
Donald Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland.
Michael Sutherland.
I was like, what is he doing here?
Me.
Her and Donald Sutherland have such good chemistry.
So good.
At the beginning, you're even thinking, before it's revealed that she has a partner, you're thinking that they might be a couple. And the entire movie you spend, because they are so good with each other, they make each other laugh. At first, you think that he doesn't take her seriously. She's like, I'm my husband, he's my boyfriend, whatever, he's been replaced, and he doesn't really kind of get it. And at first you think that he's just shutting her down, but what you actually see is that he's calming her down. And then at the end she's calm, and she set her peace of mind, and she knows that she can trust him, so she feels safe. So they get along really, really well.
But I think Donald, I mean, obviously joint chemistry between both actors, but I think that's something I love so much about Donald Sutherland's acting styles. He's so great at creating organic feeling chemistry between everyone he's acting with. Like, to be honest, like in when he's starring alongside Jane Fonda in Clute, like, oh my god, their chemistry is off the charts, you know. And he's playing such a square character. Like, his character's really not that, like, he's just like a very gentle but quite like go by the rules type guy, but like their chemistry is just like electric, it's off the charts. Or like even him and Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice, when it's just like but just like the familial chemistry of him playing her father, and it's just so beautiful because it feels so lived in, and like he's genuinely just like thrilled and happy for her and like proud of her and caring, and I just think he's so great at doing that.
And in this movie, him and Brooke Adams, you just believe that they've been friends for a long time, that they know each other really well.
And there's that one scene at the beginning where they're just like cooking together in her house or his house, and she goes in, my boyfriend, and he's like, eat some celery.
And she does, and it does help her. You know?
But it's so nice.
It's so nice. I'm gonna say almost to a fault, because I wish that we would have got at least one or at least half a scene.
Sex scene. Oh no.
Why do they have their clothes still on?
Yeah, come on, let's get some action up
No, I was gonna say with the boyfriend, because at kind of halfway, a little bit before halfway through the movie, Leonard Nimoy's character, who's a psychiatrist, I believe, is trying to tell her, like, maybe he hasn't been replaced, and you're actually just kind of looking for an excuse to leave him. And it's a little bit, you know, it works a little bit, because in some way you could ask yourself, like, hey, maybe that's the case, you know, maybe it's true. Maybe nothing's changed and she's just making up a fake story. It'll be interesting, as I said, if there was a scene where you saw her and the boyfriend, how they get along. You know, if that's how she gets along with her friend, how does she get along with her partner?
Yeah, it's weird. You never really get any sense of
his
loyalty
his
to him, or like why they were.
And I believe that it would have made that tension a lot more stronger, because, you know, maybe she's with this guy who's nice.
It is a very weird character. Him. Yeah, it's basically purely there just to introduce the idea of like the alien takeover. But like at first you don't even realize that they're like partners. You kind of think maybe they're just like roommates, or like it's just weird. Something. Like you don't really see any interaction between them that's like comfortable or even like
natural.
Natural, or like any kind of form of intimacy. It's so odd.
But hey, there's so many stories about female characters just being accessories to their boyfriends. So if this time a boyfriend is an accessory to her, you know what?
Your Honor, I'll allow it.
It can slide. Whatever.
So House. Some of the similarities. I mean, I think it is interesting how both are about people being stripped of their authenticity in some way to conform to some kind of order. Where like in House, obviously it's about like femininity, and it's about this idea of becoming the mother, and like this kind of patriarchal kind of like power position at the top of the house, you know. But whereas in Invasion, it's about stripping people of authenticity and all their traits just to fit in with everybody in society. So one is about like conformity in the house and the kind of family structure, and the other one is about conformity like on a societal level. That's actually that's a good point, which is interesting. It's all about like being stripped back and becoming something lesser. And you begin with these relationships, like you said, between Donald Sutherland and Brooke Adams' character. Like it's so rich in like their familiarity and their affection for each other and their history, and same with all the girls that are in House. Like they're all very bubbly and like full of life,
They're
and they're
like,
all such characters. Yeah, and they're just like giggling and they're like having a great time.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh shit, and it's like, this is
Yeah.
what happens when you kind of...
They all go out in rough ways. One of them drowns in blood.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Woof.
Rough.
Yeah,
Woof,
major
woof indeed.
Yeah. The gore is really impressive in both of them.
And I also realized this is the second movie that I bring about people psychedelically getting cut up.
I was
Weird.
gonna say,
Weird.
yeah, there were, when I was watching House, I was like, it's so similar to Daisy's.
Yeah, in certain like visual ways.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk more about that, and like, I think it's so impressive that it feels so cartoonish, and it feels like an animation, like within like a live action format, and just how it plays with like the medium, I think is so interesting.
It's so
like,
fun.
It just really shows like how so many filmmakers are so boring with what they think the rules are and what they have to do.
I think
and like in this film, it's like there's no rules. Like
there's
anything
no rules,
goes.
bro.
Like any minute, like 1 minute you're like, oh, they're just walking into the house, and the next they're like speeding up like backwards and forwards clips of the cat like moving on the
just
piano,
moving back and forth.
And like when they arrive at the train station, like there's like a circle on the screen, and then it like pops up onto the clock. And, like it's just like everything is constantly not quite real. It's very dysphoric. And like,
a character gets stuck in a grandfather clock, and the way that they kind of like show it is that they do a double exposure, and then they just like put blood coming out of the clock. It's just that's how they do it, and the special effects are insane. They are so good, and it's 1977.
Yeah,
so no green screen.
Crazy.
They found their ways. There's a scene. There's a clip. The girl who plays the piano gets eaten by the piano, but she gets her fingers cut off first.
Yeah, and you see the fingers all stubby and the bones sticking out.
And they did that by hand. Yeah, and then there's a shot of the fingers playing the piano on their own.
Yeah.
It's just like they really worked hard on this movie, and I appreciate it.
So great. Like I was watching it today while I was eating my lunch, and like that scene where she's looking in the mirror and then she sees her mother's reflection looking back at her and it all melts, or her aunt, and she sees like all the blood melting and she slowly like starts burning and going on fire. Like it actually made me feel, it was quite visceral. Like it did make me feel
bad for her.
I felt quite sick watching it when you see like the image just slowly like the blood filling up her face and like the cracks in the glass with the blood dripping down in the mirror. I was like, oh.
But to answer what you said about animation and stuff, like it is animated and it does follow kid logic, but it's not a movie for kids.
No.
There's not only gore, even for however cartoony as it may be, there's not only gore, there's also nudity. Not nothing too crazy, right? There's no sex scene or anything, but it's evident that this wasn't a movie made for kids.
No.
Which I think is like, wow, you know.
Which is really interesting, because at the beginning it really like enjoys the childish dynamic between all these girls. It's very much being like, look how idyllic and like peaceful and like serene this like state of childhood bliss is, or like this, they're all kind of like on the cusp of like adulthood. They're all like teenagers, so it's like this adolescent kind of bliss, you know. And it's kind of like, oh, look how fun it is. They're all giggling and laughing and having a great time, and everything's funny. Everything's like, oh, tee-hee, let's go do this, you know. It's very cute. And then suddenly it's like, oh, you're meeting this woman that was like jilted and she never became a wife and a mother, and she's like in a wheelchair,
and she failed at womanhood.
And she failed at womanhood, and now like all of you are going to be subject to the wrath of like these, like the burden of these expectations that she can never fill. And it's just quite, I think it's interesting how it disarms you with that, but it's in a very like exaggerated way. The music is so funky. It's so funky, and it repeats for the whole thing. And it's
there's this theme every time Kung Fu does something cool.
Yeah, it's so good.
That said, though, however bleak it is, the movie ends on a kind of a neutral way, because it ends with a little speech, a short little speech, given by. What's the Gorgeous, who says that people live on in everyone else's memories. They say once we're gone, once we're dead, we stay around with the people around us. So she says that we are survived by our memories, which is in one way heartwarming, because you say, you know, even after death, the people who love you will carry you on, and that's, you know, important. That's part of the reason why we live. That's part of the reason why we love. But then on the other hand, it's not entirely positive, because it does say, if you do live this jilted life, if you do let this consume you, that also survives you. That's how you become a ghost.
Yeah.
If you stay resentful, that stays.
You're haunted.
That haunts people.
Yeah.
So I thought that was quite clever, and it leaves it up as a kind of like a moral tale.
Yeah, it does.
Eric Romer, get on it.
Yeah. I did find that ending quite surprising.
Yeah.
Because it is all quite suddenly still for a minute, and it's just like these two women that are meeting, and she's like, and obviously when she at the end she's like, oh, where are all your friends? And she's like, oh, they're
this is
sleeping.
the teacher and Gorgeous.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, they're sleeping, but they'll get hungry soon. And she's like, and my friends get very hungry. And she's just kind of looking at this woman, and you're like, oh no, oh dear, it's about to continue.
Yeah. I do think these two movies reflect our film styles and like preferences and aesthetic choices very well. Yours is a pretty like sober movie, even with all science fiction. It's like this quite simmering intellectual movie where you have to like sit with the characters and take in the atmosphere. And mine is like an ADHD nightmare.
It really is. It's like so overstimulation,
colors and
but in
sounds.
the best way. It's so wonderful. Yeah.
Kind of a collage.
I love it though.
Yeah.
I also just love the like warmth of it as well. It's just so like
it's so cute.
Every frame
so
is
sweet.
so it's just like the set decor and like everything, and just about the way it's designed is so like.
Yeah, we both had many
beautiful.
Movies to pick from for our Halloween special. Maybe we'll do more. I'd be down for it.
There were loads more on my list.
There were loads more on my list.
But this was just the one that immediately sprung to mind. I was like, I'm going to go with my gut instinct, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because I think the other movie I was considering was maybe a bit too similar to House. I think it would have been.
Well, don't tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about it at another time.
Speaking of like recent happenings, it won't be recent to the time that you're listening to this right now, but it is recent to now. You've made a video and you've posted it, and it's so good. I watched it yesterday, and I was watching it and I'm like, damn, this is really, really cool. Not only do I like, oh wait, there's a witch outside.
Hold for the child. In the middle of my compliment as well.
That's all you get. Sorry. Yeah, the way I know that this video took it was like a living creature in the way that it was made, because it wasn't made how videos are usually made. It was made as it went on, almost like, as I said, this like living creature.
Yeah.
And just your editing eye is incredible. You have all of these clips from all of these movies that you bring together to make something new, and I think it's just absolutely excellent video.
Thank you.
And obviously the stuff that you said as well, it's quite moving. I don't want to get into it because I urge you to go watch it on Emily's channel, Pompous Unhelpful Knit. This one right here.
That's me.
But I think you did a really good job, and I just wanted to give you your flowers for a second. I think that's a really, really, really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I really liked making it. It was very cathartic for me. And I needed to just, I don't know, there's just some things you need to make just to like think about something and get it off your chest, and that was one of those things.
I feel that way about my films as well. The ones that I make, you center on them for so long, and you really want to craft it as best as you can, and then once it's out there, it's out there.
You feel free.
It's
like a weight off your shoulders.
You release it off your hands and into the world.
Yeah, I love that though. I always say that like I always write about things that I'm like thinking about all the time. Like, what is something that I'm thinking about all the time? And that's
cardigans.
Those cardigans, my cardigan collection. But that's just like always, I think, how creativity works best, when it's just something that you cannot stop thinking about. You're obsessed
and you just
by.
Want to share it with people.
And you just want to share it, yeah.
Like this podcast.
Like this pod.
Aww, like these movies. Aww, cute. All right. Well, on that note, I guess we can end it there. Yeah. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Be scary out there. Be safe.
Be scary and merry, and let's wrap this up so you can take that flipping tail off.
Why? You don't like this? You don't like my tail?
It makes me so uncomfortable how stiff it is.